This video is going to show you how to make a postal code targeting PCT file or job. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do create a PCT list from a list of target postal codes. To do that, I'm going to import a file that has postal codes in it, our target postal codes that we're going to use to populate the final list. This can be a full file, but you can also import just a list of your target postal codes, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do here. So we're going to start by creating a job the same way we normally would. And in this case, I'm going to pull up a text file that contains just a list of our postal codes that we're interested in populating. I'm doing this as a text file so that you can see the extra messages that will show up. I'm doing it as fixed length because there's only one file, so it really doesn't matter. I'm going to get a warning here that says that there might not be enough address information, but that's okay because we are doing this on purpose. So once we're at the select address screen, I'd like you to note that there is a postal code list option here. So you'll see our postal codes in the database preview. We are also going to indicate where that postal code is, and we're going to click OK. So now we have loaded 101 records. The next step is address management, and we're going to go down to postal code targeting. Now, we have this list here. If we want, we can select specific values from it, but I'm going to leave that for now. Another couple of options that I'm not showing in this video, but are available with instructions through our manual, are a seed list and a suppress list. So a seed list will you need to import full addresses. So these are going to be addresses that will be added to the final PCT job. Those can be used to check to make sure that the mail actually arrived. The suppress list is a list of full addresses, so not just postal codes, that you're going to be using to take out from your final list. So these are the addresses that you don't want to send. Either way, we're going to need to go to our filters at this point. So you can either use the button down here or you can go to the filter tab. It is mandatory that you choose who the PCT customer is, not the third party preparing the mail, but the actual owner of the mail piece. Now I'm going to limit the barcodes just because I don't want a huge number of them for this test. So I'm going to limit that to 1,000 barcodes, and I'm going to hit mailing estimate because this is going to take a little while in the background. Now as that is processing, you notice here that before you hit the mailing estimate button, you can choose whether you want to include just residential, just business. You can even get more specific into the householder type. So if you only want to target apartments and farms, you can do that. You can also look at multi-unit buildings or have no multi-unit buildings included in that. And as you saw, I limited the number of barcodes that were being printed to 1,000. So just as we go through this, if you have used a seed list, it will include those addresses in here. If you have suppressed, it will remove those addresses from here. We now have our PCT report, and it's shown that it has created a total number of 1,000 barcoded pieces, so 1,000 addresses that are matched to our postal codes that we imported. It gives a total price based on whatever the current Canada Post price is, and it shows us how many postal codes were matched, whether there were seeds or suppressions, and then it gives us a geographic breakdown. At this point, we have two options. We can convert to a mailing list, and that's going to bring us back to the select address screen where we can line up those addresses into the address, city, province, postal code fields. We can export at that point as well. If all you want is the list, you can go to export. Otherwise, you can shortcut this by going simply to create the mailing, and you can save. And what that has done now is it's created that list for you. And I need to give it a name. Okay. And it's now done that for us. It is processing that in the back end and generating the list. So this will be 1,000 pieces that are grouped by postal code and can be either a PCT machinable job or can be a PCT special handling job. Once you have created your job, you will have your PCT report. It will provide a mailing ID, and it will have the same information that was presented on the summary screen for you, along with some additional information that Canada Post can use if they need it. If you don't create the mailing immediately, we can actually then convert this to a mailing list. And it's going to remove the current data that we have and replace that with the addresses that we generated in our PCT processing. So we now come back to our select address screen, and you will see that the addresses have been included in here. It has picked it up automatically, and we're just simply going to say OK. Once we have done that, we can now move to pre-sort. And once we have chosen our date of mailing and hit next, you will notice that the only three options available are postal code targeting, the special handling option, a machinable option, and then just the labels themselves if that's what you want. So I'm going to go through and just choose postal code targeting machinable. And this should be pretty familiar to anyone who's doing sorts on a regular basis. So because this is machinable, PCT is considered standard, goes into an LFT. If you do have pallets, you can indicate that here. You're going to need to just put in your thickness and your weight. So I'm putting in my estimates here, and you're going to have your office of deposit, and then you're going to choose what you want to do with your labels and your reports, and we're going to click done. And now this is going to go through and create exactly the same types of documents and reports that you would see for any pre-sorted mailing or machinable mailing. So here is your statement of mailing. You can print all your reports, you can save them to file, and you will have your labels available, so your container labels if you had monotainers or pallets, and you can print your all of those labels and reports, and then you can export your addresses for printing. And be sure to follow the PCT rules for applying that to your envelopes, or sorry, your mail. If you have a PCT file that has been created by Canada Post, it will be a text file, and it will have a delimiter that is a pipe. So if you take a look in a text editor, the file that was sent by Canada Post, you will see it is in a very specific format. If you have received one of these files and wish to use it in iAddress, there is a special procedure for doing that. You're going to go to File, and you're going to create a PCT job. So you only use this if Canada Post has provided you with that PCT file. So I'm going to use this one, and it does need to be pipe delimited because that is what iAddress is expecting. So you will notice that once you bring that in, you do not go to the select address because it is in a specific format. A template has been set up within iAddress. Your only options here are to pre-sort, and you will go through this in the same way that you normally do. So you'll pick your mailing date, and you'll notice that the only three options here are the special handling, PCT, machinable, and creating the labels. Now, usually if you're getting this done by Canada Post, you are creating a special handling if you're bringing it into here. In this case, we do have less than 1,000 pieces. We're going to use a phantom mailing. We're going to assume that this is oversized. So you'll notice that if it's oversized, it does need to go into a flat tub. If you have pallets or monotainers, indicate that here. We're going to put in our mail piece thickness and weight. I'm going to put in a nicely oversized piece. You're going to have your office of deposit. Choose what you want to have done with your labels and reports, and then click done. And this is now going to create your special handling PCT mailing. And this should look like any regular personalized mailing. Just be sure that when you are printing that you follow the PCT printing guidelines. But from here, treat this as a regular personalized mail special handling job, and you will be able to complete it and induct it to Canada Post without any issues.